Sheriff's Department Civil Processing Division. Please hold where call is transferred to Sergeant David Chapman. Deputy McCoy.
This is Sheriff Chad Jensen. Fraudulent phone calls similar to this one have been received by many citizens in Cache County. The most common scams are asking for payment over the phone because of a lawsuit, civil bench warrant, or to post bail for a family member who has supposedly been arrested. They ask for payment in form of prepaid cards, gift cards, or money transfers, and if you do not pay, they threaten to arrest you. The Sheriff's Office does not take payment or ask for personal information over the phone. These types of scams often use internet phone numbers which are nearly impossible to track. If you receive a phone call of this nature, do not give out any personal information and hang up. Be cautious about the information you give out over the phone to make sure you are not the next victim of a scam.
The following is a paid program of commercial time on KVNU. The information, offers, and claims are solely those of the sponsor and not the opinions of this station, its affiliates, management, or employees. It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
And we welcome you to the show on a beautiful Saturday morning as we're talking about the spring open house at Anderson Seed and Garden. And Mark, it's finally feeling like
It looks like spring. It looks like spring outside. I drove down and it's like, I see some blue skies.
Yes.
And the sun is shining.
And a lot of blue sky for this weekend. And we've been wanting that for weeks.
There's a little bit of frozen water on my deck, though. I almost slipped this morning.
Yeah, a little frost.
I was a
on
little
the
chilly.
lawn.
Yep, a little chilly. I was surprised. I was just like excited that the sun was out, and I was skipping down the stairs. You know?
Had to watch out for the little puddle of ice.
I was like, oh, that could have been bad. That could have been bad. But it is our spring open house at Anderson Seed and Garden. We are so excited to celebrate spring. We've been calling it our spring/winter open house this year since we've had some less than desirable weather for the last, 2 months. But we're ready to go. So greenhouses are full, lots of flowers. We've got hanging baskets that are beautiful. So we've got 10-inch hanging baskets that are on sale for $18.99. They're usually $27.99, so some great prices there. Lots of flowers, lots of vegetables. We've got gallon tomatoes are on sale. We call them large tomatoes now instead of gallon tomatoes, but that's kind of how that works. Lots of great products on sale. We've got, we're just excited about spring. Yeah, just excited about spring. So I know we've got some weed killers, we've got some fertilizers, we've got some new disease control that we've got in our flyer that came out, and we've got a coupon for a great deal on some gardening gloves, some of our best gloves, and also on a flat of flowers. So all kinds of fun things happening this weekend.
As I was walking around yesterday, I noticed too, and maybe I just haven't caught it before because I haven't needed them as much, but it seems like you've got a lot of trimmers and shears that large selection.
Yes.
If you haven't done any trimming yet for your fruit trees, your shade trees, man, that's the first place to go.
Yeah. Lots of different pruners, loppers, shears, hand pruners, saws. Mm-hmm. We've got everything you need to maintain your trees and your shrubs after you get them going. And we've been having a lot of classes this spring as well too. So the USU Extension's come and taught a couple classes, and we've done a couple as well too on pruning, on how to prune properly. And you got to have the right tools. And if you've got a hand shear, you've got a hand saw, and you've got a lopper, you can really pretty much get into just about any tree that you need to take care of. Yeah. And then our fruit growing guide has so much information in it on fruit trees and small fruits, but then it has a nice section on pruning, and it helps you learn all the parts of the tree and where to make the cuts and how to make the cuts to direct your tree where it needs to go. So no, it's a great observation, Will. So we have a really great selection of pruners.
Nothing will be better than a nice sharp, and I emphasize sharp pruning shears, because last weekend we got out and pruned all of our fruit trees, And I kept thinking, oh, these shears are going to go. Yeah. I'm not going to deal with these another season.
So I had a gentleman in this week, and he owns a tree care business, and he was buying a whole bunch of loppers for his crew, and he's buying all these loppers, and they're really good ones that he was purchasing. They're really good ones. And as he's getting those, and he bought like 6 or 8, as he's picking those up, I'm like, this is the one that you need to get. Just for you. Yeah, this is the one you don't let your guys borrow. You know, the crew
or your neighbor.
The crew's not going to touch this one. This is the one that you're not going to let your neighbor borrow, or possibly even your wife. You know, this is the one that you get to try. And I handed it to him, and he's like, ooh, you know, and then I showed him how it works and how it cuts a little bit cleaner. And I was like, hey, I had a customer in the other day. He's been using this other pruner, and he's looking for a new one. I said, you've got to try this one. And he took it home, and he came back like the next day, and he's like, that's like I was like cutting like cutting butter. He was like, it was so smooth and nice, and he like picked it up because it's like half the weight of the other ones that he was purchasing, and he's like, okay, I'll try it.
And when it gives you a clean cut, that's the thing.
So
when you've got those dull pruning shears and it's like you're gnawing and hacking at that branch, and then you leave it just open up for disease.
Yeah. It makes a hard job more difficult.
Yeah.
But if you have a really good tool, it makes a hard job much easier.
Yeah.
And that really works. So spring open house, a lot of great prices on items. We've got a lot of great knowledge to share with you at Anderson's, and of course, my guest today is Daniel from VPG, Fertilome and High Yield. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me,
It's
Mark.
great to have you here for the open house, and I know you just like spent all day just visiting with people and helping them with problems and answering questions. Thanks for being here.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then we can't forget that next weekend is our Spring Fling planting event. So on the 29th of April, so a week from today, we're doing our Spring Planting event, and this is our event where if you sign up in advance, we're doing sign-ups this year, so you have to have an appointment to be able to participate. But we will have our helpers there, and what you do is you bring in your pots, or you come in and you buy some new pots from Anderson's, and then you pick out the flowers that you want, pay for the flowers, and then we will pot them up for free. And so we've got the potting soil and the labor that we're going to provide for free. You buy the flowers, you buy the pot, or bring a couple pots in, and we'll pot them up for you and load them in your car. You get to take them home and enjoy those. So it's our spring planting event. We haven't done it for 3 years, so we had to cancel it in 2020 for obvious reasons, and we haven't been able to do it for the last couple of years. But this year we're going for it. But you either want to give us a call at the store, and we'll get you set up on an appointment. If you can kind of pick out maybe 3 or 4 different times during the day that would work for you, we can get you into one of those times. And then what we'd like you to do is come about a half an hour before your planting time, pick out the flowers that you want, get those all set up, go and pay for those, and then when your time comes, like say you're set for 11 o'clock, come in at 10:30, go get your flowers figured out, come over at 11 o'clock, we'll pot everything up, and then it will be a lot more easier to work with. Yeah, instead of having everybody show up all at the same time. That way nobody's like standing around waiting forever.
You make it easy.
we try and
or the
make
long
it easy.
lines.
Yeah, we've had some long lines where people have had to wait, like an hour to get their stuff potted. This way, if you come in early, you can like kind of pick out what you want, do a little bit of shopping, maybe pick up a few other things, and then when your time comes, you just go right to the head of the line, and we pot you up, and away you go. Yeah, much better. So we've got a lot of times available, and we're trying to be as flexible as possible with people's timeline, but we'll make it work. Yeah.
And the easiest way to sign up for a time is just call into
the store or stop into the store, or you can email us. So you can email me at mark@AndersonSeedandGarden.com, and we'll get you to our scheduling crew, and we've got a nice little scheduler set up on Eventbrite. You can go and do it on Eventbrite, but we found that some of our customers are struggling getting the times figured out for them. So if you want us to help out with that, we can take care of that for sure. So that's just no problem. So spring planting event next weekend, the 29th of April, that's coming up, and you definitely want to get an appointment so you have a time to come in and get planted. Yeah. And we're going to do it from about 10 o'clock until 5 o'clock. So you've got quite a few time slots there. We're going to try and schedule people about every 20 to 30 minutes.
Be perfect if you're looking for a gift for Mother's Day.
Oh yeah, for
week
sure.
Before,
yep. And next weekend we should have a whole bunch of hanging baskets in stock again. All those 10-inch baskets that are on sale today, they'll probably be mostly gone by the end of the day. But we'll restock the greenhouses. We'll have all brand new ones in, ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah, so ready to go.
So that's coming up next weekend, but of course the spring open house happening today.
Yeah.
With all sorts of sale prices on through the store.
Yep. And one of the items that we've got on sale is our new Fungicide 5 from Fertilome Green.
Yeah, no, that's a great product. Excellent choice for the vegetable garden. Prevents and treats diseases. It's kind of neat. It's a live bacteria.
It is a fungicide that we've been using for quite a few years. We are excited to see it available in the Fertilome label, and it's been awesome for vegetables. It's been great for flowers, for ornamentals, and since it is a natural bacteria, it's a super, super safe product to use whenever you have disease problems.
Treat the roots, treats the foliage.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah. We found that when we started using it, we were having trouble with verticillium and fusarium and early and late blight in our tomatoes, and we just started using it when we were planting, and then once every 2 weeks, maybe once a month throughout the growing season, just to try and stay on top of it. And it pretty much eliminated all of our disease issues from soil problems that we were having.
Very good.
Yeah, really, really great product. We've been super excited to have that in the Fertilome label. So special introductory price for the open house.
Excellent.
The best product ever. So we've got phone lines open. We're talking about spring open house at Anderson Seed and Garden, but we can talk about any problems that you've got. So the phone lines are open, 753-5868-753 KVNU or 1-800-369-5868. So you had just like a little crowd of people around you yesterday at times, Daniel.
I did.
I did too. I was kind of running around like mad, running outside, helping people out back, staying inside, helping people in there.
Yeah, if they can't get in the vegetable garden, they want to start taking care of their lawns.
Yeah.
So a lot of lawn talk. So it was good to chat with everyone and get everybody set it out.
We've had snow for so long on the ground that we're seeing a lot of snow mold.
A lot of snow mold, a lot of issues with critters
with
in the lawn
voles,
as well.
Yeah, and vole issues as well too. So I know you were talking about the Molgo with multiple customers yesterday, and the Molgo that's a great option for getting the voles to move to your neighbor's house.
That's
is what,
right.
That's what we usually say.
It definitely disrupts them. Yeah, they do not want to stay in that area. So
we usually tell people, it's like, you put this product down, the voles are just going to leave your property and they're going to go to your neighbor's house.
You can tell the neighbors that you get along with. You can let them know what you use.
Exactly. Yeah,
point them in that direction.
And it's made out of castor oil, and so it's like totally safe to use around pets and around people. It's like non-toxic. They just don't like the smell. They don't like the smell of it.
Yep.
And just leave and go somewhere else.
That's right.
So that's all right.
And once you get them out of there, you can just put a little perimeter around your property to keep them from coming
back in.
Yeah,
from coming back in. And voles do a lot of damage in a short amount of time. So usually, if you start the winter season in November with 2 voles, by March you could have 250. And so they just multiply every
like
20
rabbits.
Any 25 days. Every 25 days, they can have a batch of babies. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, they can have a litter. That's right. So you can multiply exponentially
very quickly
in your yard. Yeah. And we've had a lot of people that have had snow on the ground for 5 months, and they've just been having a giant party out there. And so the Molgo does a great job, granule or liquid. I know many years ago the product would. When it was cold, it didn't work very well, the liquid. But they've got that fixed where it works in cold water as well as in warmer water.
Perfect.
So, yeah,
Perfect.
which is great. So we've been very, very happy with the Molgo, either in the liquid or the granule form, and they're both really easy to apply. But if you don't have your outdoor water on, it's hard to spray. So you get that granule option, which is like perfect for that.
You're probably looking at putting something down on your lawn right now anyway. Your first step of your lawn care.
Exactly.
So you got your spreader out. It's a good combo.
Exactly. And in our lawn program, we've got the Fertilome crabgrass preventer with food in there as well too. So that's a great product for right now. And I've had a lot of people in saying, is it too late? Is it too late to put my pre-emergent on? And you're shaking your head. No.
You got plenty of time, yeah. But you do want to get it out before seeds start to germinate. But no, this would be a great time to do it.
In our area, crabgrass generally germinates around the first or second week of May through the first part of June. And so if we can get that on in the next couple weeks, your timing is like perfect.
Excellent.
It's perfect for crabgrass control. And the product that's in there, the Dimension, does a great job even if your crabgrass has germinated.
That's right.
And is a little bit smaller. So if it's in that first tiller stage, it will still kill it.
Yep.
And so very, very effective at preventing germination. But if your crabgrass has germinated, it will still kill it.
Yep. But don't wait.
Don't wait.
Don't wait.
Yeah.
Get it out.
Yeah. So I got a little bit of fertilizer and some humic on my lawn last week. So last week when we had that break in the storm, I got out there and put my humic on. And then I put a really great fertilizer on as well, too. So use the Southwest Green Maker. So the Green Maker's like still one of my favorite products from Fertilome.
I did exactly the same.
Yeah.
But you know what I had done first, though? I had my lawn aerated.
Oh, very nice.
So I wanted to get that aeration done before I put that pre-emergent out.
We've got some compacted soils after having snow on the ground for that long, so great idea. And I got that on, and then it stormed like the next day after I put it on. And boy, this week it's just greening up like crazy. I'm looking at it going, dang, I'm probably gonna have to mow next week. Yeah, but by putting the humic on and then letting it grow and then mowing afterwards, we'll mow a little bit closer. We'll be able to get rid of a lot of that stuff that's like left over from winter, whether it's dead grass clippings or some of the leaves that finally fell off the trees. You know, really really late this year. We're seeing some nice results with the humic.
I bet with that little bit of rain, you could hear that lawn thanking you.
We could hear it growing out there is what we could hear. So not too bad. But spring open house going on at Anderson Seed and Garden this weekend. So not only do we have some great prices on some excellent products to help you in your yard, we also still have a lot of really nice bare root trees and small fruits. So we got like grapes and currants and blackberries and blueberries and strawberries. I just got a new batch of strawberries that just came in. We've got onion plants. We've got asparagus. We've got lots of great asparagus plants. And oh, shoot, what else? I said grapes. Raspberries will be in probably next week. So we've been kind of waiting on the raspberries because they could not harvest the raspberries because there was so much snow. So we've been delayed about 6 weeks on the raspberries. Yeah, it's just like crazy. But we just got a new shipment of fruit trees in, and so we haven't been able to get them tagged yet. So we've got them just in boxes out in the parking lot. And if it's really busy today, which it probably is going to be, we probably won't be able to get to those and get them tagged today either. But next week we'll have a whole bunch of new fruit trees. So if you're looking for some of the Stellar series of peaches, if you're looking for some different apples or some different pears, I've got some new cherries coming in. We've got probably 400 more bare root fruit trees that are going to be ready to go next week.
On top of the 400 that were already there yesterday afternoon.
Yeah. So we had 1,000. So to start the season, we had about 1,000, and then we've sold through more than half of those, and we've got some more. And of course, this usually happens like a month earlier. But this year we've just had to kind of push everything back just a little bit. But got a great selection of fruit trees. And, of course, some of those are starting to leaf out, so we're going to have to start potting them up next week as well, too. So we'll see what happens. But great selection on the fruit trees. Lots of small fruits, whether it's asparagus or currants or blackberries or blueberries. We've got a whole bunch of those in stock. Elderberries, we've even got elderberries this year. Some really great options to choose from, so not bad at all.
And I noticed you also have a lot of shade trees that are in stock now.
We have received basically all of our shade trees and flowering trees to start the season with. We can get more, but nursery is getting full of some gorgeous looking trees. And what I find is really, really interesting, we unloaded a truck on Thursday this week, and they came in from Oregon, and we unloaded them. And normally they're just like fully leafed out, and they're in full bloom, and they don't even have leaves on them. This year.
They just barely woke up,
They
Mark.
just are waking up, and I'm going, hey, that's the way it is here in Cache Valley.
Yep.
You know, those ones coming in from Oregon, they should be, a lot farther along.
They're not.
They're not. They're not any farther along. So all of the Northwest has been cold and wet all the spring. And so even the plants we're bringing in from Washington and Oregon, they are 4 weeks behind schedule, too. Yeah, so really interesting that everybody in the Northwest is getting hit with cold, wet weather this year.
Yeah.
So,
but we've been talking about it, as wet as the ground is, it's just such a great time to get a bare root tree, drop it in, because the soil is so moist.
The soil's moist. You won't even have to water it for like the first couple of weeks probably, and the soil's a little bit cooler, and the plants are dormant, and so you get those planted, and then they'll just leaf out with all the rest of the trees that are in your yard. So it's like it's just a really great time to plant. And things are going to dry out next week, and we're going to get out there in the gardens, and we're going to get all of our early crops planted. I'm looking at 60s for 4 or 5 or 6 days next week after our little storm on Monday. So we've got our fingers crossed we'll be out there getting some stuff planted. So this is the weekend to come in, get what you need, so that next week when the weather turns nice, you can just get going. Yeah, it'll be like perfect. So,
well, we're going to get going with some phone calls. We have Christine joining us on the line first on the Garden Guide. Welcome to the show, Christine.
Hi, I just love your show.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I have a question. Is it too early to put down the drench, and how do you do it?
Ooh, great question. The insect drench for like aphids and leaf miners.
Yeah, I have scale.
Perfect.
On my mugo pine.
Perfect. And on your mugos, do it as soon as you can get out there. And it's on sale for our open house this weekend. So I think the quarts are $5 off and the gallons are $10 off. And so you've got great pricing on our insect drench, so the tree and shrub insect drench from Fertilome. And it's like prime time for doing it right now. Yeah. So
anytime the ground's not frozen.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I would get out there and do it this week. It'll be perfect.
And then before, you said to put it in a 5-gallon, is that like 5-gallon water?
Like a 5-gallon bucket, yeah. So let's say, how big are your mugos?
6.5 feet tall.
Okay, so if they're 6 feet tall, usually we recommend 2 ounces per foot of shrub height. Mm-hmm. And Daniel's over here nodding.
Oh, yeah. And keep that product at the base of the tree or the shrub that you're applying it to. Those feeder roots out by the drip line don't absorb the product very well. So at the base of the tree or the shrub is where you want to keep that product.
Usually within 2 or 3 feet of like the trunk. And if they're 6.5 feet tall, we're going to do 2 ounces per foot of height. So 6 times 2, you got 12. You could do like 13 or 14 if it's like closer to 7 feet. And then put that in your 5-gallon bucket. Fill it up with water, stir it up a little bit, and then pour it on the ground right around that one mugo pine. And if it's 6 feet tall, probably in about a week or 10 days, it's going to be running through the entire tree.
So you use 5 gallons of water with it?
Yeah, as much water as you need to saturate the soil evenly around your targeted tree.
Okay, so you can't put too much water in there.
It would be if as long as you get that 12 to 14 ounces on your tree, you could mix it in 1 gallon or you could mix it in 20 gallons, and it would still get the same amount. So it's really whatever is easiest for you to work with. And a 5-gallon bucket for most people is like, that's just right. Not too much, not too little.
Oh, perfect.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
You're so welcome. Have a wonderful weekend, Christine.
You too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Next, let's go out to Todd, who's joining us on the line. Todd, welcome to the show.
Good morning, you guys. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Todd. Doing awesome today.
I want you to know, driving up through Logan Canyon yesterday from about Tony Grove up to Garden City, it was like a winter wonderland. So just so you know, I was thinking about some questions to ask along with a friend of mine.
There you go.
And I'll tell you what, I'm going, do I really want to ask this going through the blizzard like I told you, it was crazy.
I got pictures yesterday from my friend Jeff, who lives just east of Bear Lake up in kind of the foothills. He's at about 7,000 feet. And he sent me pictures of his snow piles. And he had his like 3/4 ton truck parked by his snow piles, and the piles were taller than his truck.
Wow.
Still.
I can believe that.
Yeah.
I can believe that.
And so we were talking about planting some Quakies. He wants to get some Quakies in and do a big line of Quakies, which are going to do great at 7,000 feet. And he's like, well, do you think I could plant in the next couple of weeks? Sent me those pictures, and I was like, maybe we should bring him in and hold on to him for a while. A while, yeah. We'll wait till July.
The way it looked yesterday, we were going to stop at the rest stop up the scenic because it was blowing like crazy.
Yeah.
And I asked my wife, very gently, I go, why don't you get out and pose for a picture? Well, my wife, you know how tall my wife is.
Yes. She gave you that look, didn't she?
And she gave me the look, and I would say that Rich was like 9 feet tall. She looked at me like, yeah, right.
Yep. Hey, you know what? When we start getting some nice warm temperatures here, though, Todd, it's gonna disappear. And
yes, it is.
Yeah,
quick.
It's gonna disappear.
I just thought that was interesting, and then we got here to the part of Wyoming where we are, and they're already plowing and putting their first crop of wheat or winter wheat in and all that good stuff in. So
perfect.
It's coming. It is coming.
It's coming. So
yeah. Anyway, I have a long-winded question.
That's okay.
And I hope you can answer all of this. And
fire away.
I don't want Will and your guest to fall asleep when I read them.
All right. Well, we're going to make Daniel answer it anyway. So
okay. First of all, I'm going to ask you a question. What type of pruners did that landscaper purchase from you?
He bought the Baco. And so,
the Baco?
Yep. So I've got an aluminum-handled Baco lopper that comes in, I think it's like a 20-inch handle. It comes in a 24-inch handle, and it comes in a 28-inch handle. And it has a different blade cutting system that's called a double radius. And the double radius cut makes it so that when you're cutting a branch, it uses a larger portion of the blade to cut. So like if you're using, like, say, a butcher knife and you're just trying to chop stuff, you end up chopping it with just the same width of the blade as the item that you're chopping. But if you're like cutting through a loaf of bread, you use more of a slicing motion, and you use a lot more of the blade. So you're using a bigger portion of the blade to do the cutting, and it cuts a lot easier than when you're trying to chop, and especially if you're pruning trees. And so with that double cutting radius, it actually uses a larger portion of the blade. Since it's formed that way, it will cut through harder wood, through larger branches, much easier, because you're not just forcing the blade through the branch, it's actually slicing through the branch. And so when you use that lopper, it just makes life so much easier. It's just like whew, you just cut so nice. So the aluminum handled Baco, there's nothing like it.
Because I'm trying to convince Lynette to move away from the 25-pound to the lightweight.
Right.
She looked at me this morning when you were talking about that, and she goes, "Yes, please."
There you go.
Yes,
yeah,
please.
And this is one you can like pick up with, like, even the 28-inch one. You can pick it up with like one finger, because the handles are like so light. It's like a feather.
And where are those in your store?
Those are those are on the wall right next to my office.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can come in.
If you stop in and you knock, you like stick your head in my door and go, "Hey, Mark, show me those loppers," I'll come out and I'll show you.
Okay, but not the Burger King Whopper.
No, not that one.
Okay. All right. Another question real quick, and I know you guys are looking for a break. Will's looking at me like, come on, Todd, get on with your question.
We're at the bottom of the hour, Todd.
Yeah, I can tell that. Just basically, we're replacing our landscaping in, our front yard. And we've got our tulips and all everything else coming up, which is looking nice, by the way. We want to do borders, and we want to put some drought-tolerant plants and all of that good stuff in there. And we were in our garden or planting class for color from J.D. Gunnell.
Yeah.
And he was talking about some plants and stuff. But we also, what type of plants would you recommend that are drought-tolerant? And also, Lynette wanted to know what type of borders, around the outside of there. Do we want metal? Do we want rock borders?
Good question.
And then if we want bark, do we want bark inside for the paths and stuff? And if so,
right,
do we want the little size bark or the big bark?
Good. Okay.
There we go. I'm not sure. You can answer.
That is a long question, Todd. That is a long question. So with the borders, that's really whatever you like. So you could do concrete, and there's like some really cool pavers that you could put in there to like make nice borders. There's some recycled material that kind of looks like wood, but it's made out of like recycled plastic and wood and stone, and so it has a more attractive look to it as well too. There's a lot of people that use metal. You can use steel or aluminum borders. So you've got quite a few options, and it's really kind of what you like. And I have some of the recycled material. I've got some samples of the stone, like the concrete formed pavers. If you want to take a look at some of those, they come in a lot of different colors, and those would be some really good options. And it just depends on how much you want sticking up. Like I've got some stone that we've done in front of our house that makes just a really nice edge, and we'd actually used it for a raised bed in one section, but we took that apart. We took that tree out, and then we decided to put them in front of our house, and it has kind of a little scalloped edge to it. Looks really pretty good. And then there's a lot of people that are kind of changing their landscape out, going to more drought tolerant trees and shrubs and flowers and things. One thing you want to remember is make sure that you do have a watering system set up for them.
Yeah.
So
that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah. Drip system would be excellent. And if you do a drip system, you don't even have to go drought tolerant, because you're going to be using 90% less water to keep those plants alive and looking really good. And I can help you set up a drip system. It's really, really easy to do. It's something you can just like set up and have it hooked up to your hose or your hose bib, and we can put a timer on it, so you don't even have to like be there for it to turn on. I mean, it's really simple. You don't have to have someone come in and set it up for you and do in-ground pipes if you don't want, but you could definitely have someone come and set that up for you if you want a more professional system as well too. But you really, really need to have a way to water your plants.
Because we do have a water faucet outside of our house.
Perfect.
Our front yard.
Yeah, and it's not like you have to water like every other day either. It's like we're talking like once a week for a good watering. You could set it up with a timer and just like, hey, I'm going to go to bed. I think I'll go turn the water on. Turn it on. Set your timer to turn off after 6 hours, 8 hours. Get a nice good soak on all those plants. Once a week, and they'd be happy as can be. So and then for plants, that's a much longer question. We're going to have to maybe sit down and talk some different plants, because if it's shady or sunny, we've got some different areas. There's a lot of cool ground covers that you can do, and some nice perennials and some nice shrubs that are just going to come back year after year. And then for mulch, I would definitely do. Larger bark will last longer. You don't have to replace it as often. And by putting a mulch down, your watering is going to be much more effective. And so if you're using a nice mulch, then every time you water, it's going to retain the moisture a lot longer. It's going to reflect some of the heat off. It's going to keep your soil cooler. Your plants are going to perform a lot better for you. So a nice mulch will really, really help if you're going to change your landscape that way.
Okay. So underneath that mulch, would we put like a weed barrier?
You could definitely put the weed barrier down, and that's going to help stop weeds from coming. But as your mulch on top deteriorates, you're going to have a little bit of soil on top. So we usually recommend that you use a pre-emergent along with the weed barrier to prevent the weeds from germinating on the surface, because the barrier is going to stop weeds from coming up through, but it's not going to stop stuff from germinating on top. So then what would you suggest, Daniel? Either Dimension or Treflan?
Probably the turf and ornamental. You'll get a lot longer lasting with the turf and ornamental.
The turf and ornamental. Yes.
And you don't have to work it into the soil, which is nice.
Yeah. You just like broadcast it over the top and then just water it. So the high yield turf and ornamental would be great. Once a year, twice a year.
Depending on when you put it out, once a year would probably get you through it. Yeah. But it's the same pre-emergent that's in your first step of your lawn care.
Right.
Yeah. So really good product.
That would be awesome.
Alrighty. Well, I don't have a page 9 or 10 for that, so I better let you go.
Sounds great. Hey, thanks for calling this morning, Todd, and for asking some very good questions. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And you need to send me a picture of the 7s.
Oh, yes. I will send you a
Remember
picture of
we
the
were
sevens.
talking
Yep.
about the
Yep.
sevens?
Right now, it is buried under 10 feet of snow. But as soon as the sevens show up this year over there above Millville,
Getting there.
Yeah, we'll take pictures. It's going to be the 1st of July.
At least.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day, and
Yeah,
I go, I didn't ask him for a picture, so.
Yeah, we'll get a picture. Sounds
All right,
good.
my man.
Thanks,
I
Todd.
appreciate it. And Will, thanks for enduring with us today.
Love to hear from you, Todd. And we have a few other callers who are going to be hanging on the
Thank
line
you.
with us. And
See you, Todd.
we're going to head to the bottom of the hour break as we have our news break coming up here in just a minute. But we'll get back and talk more about the Spring Open House.
Yes.
Talk more about some of the products from Fertilume and High Yield. It's the Garden Show on this beautiful Saturday morning here on KVNU. I'm Will Feelwright with your KVNU News Update. It's brought to you by Whole Tree Care. Well, Friday, Utah Governor Spencer Cox issued an executive order directing Utah's chief privacy officer to create a strategic plan to safeguard the personal information of Utahns. Governor Cox noted that from getting a driver's license to registering to vote or opening a business, state government requires the disclosure of personal information for almost all of the services it provides, and that is a sacred trust that they want to make sure that every state agency has a set of policies and procedures in place to protect the privacy of all citizens. Now, in 2021, the legislature created a chief privacy officer position with the Department of Government Operations that oversees the collection and storage and protection of that information. The executive order requires now that chief privacy officer to complete a full assessment of all state agencies and return a report back to the governor by August 1st. And experts say that child abuse happens to all kinds of varying degrees. And during Child Abuse Prevention Month, several organizations in Idaho and throughout the United States are working together to spread awareness. Mahoney House in Salmon, Idaho, has had many events that showcase how to ask for help and report abuse, and also how to identify survivors and signs of abuse. Now, Mahoney's House's Pam Martinez says that those behavioral signs can include aggression or, for young children, bedwetting.
When you have that ability to say, wow, this child is really not what they were a few months ago, that could be a sign of some type of child abuse.
Data shows that in 2021, there were over 1,800 reported cases of child sexual abuse and over 400 cases of physical abuse in Idaho. Well, looking at a mix of clouds and some sunshine over the next few days as temperatures slowly warming back up into the mid-50s by Sunday. I'm Will Feelwright for KVNU News.
From ABC Sports, I'm Mark Remillard. Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets visited Minnesota to hopefully go 3 games up on the Timberwolves, and the reigning MVP directed a stellar offensive night for Denver.
Jokic, layup good! Denver leads you by 9 with 2:05 to go.
Altitude Radio Network on the call. The Joker finished with a triple-double, 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 12 assists. Michael Porter Jr. added 25 as the Nuggets take a commanding 3-0 series lead over the Timberwolves, 120-111. The Knicks hosting the Celtics in the Garden for Game 3 and put on a defensive showcase while firing on offense.
Here's Jalen Brunson in the lane, stops and pops and scores again.
ESPN with the call. Jalen Brunson had 21. The Hawks recorded only 79 points, the lowest tally for a team this season. New York takes a 2-1 series lead with a 99-79 win. This is ABC Sports.
Spring is here. Time to break the shackles of winter and ride out into the sunshine with the Spring Spectacular Sale at Discount Tire and Automotive. This means you save huge on all UTV tires, ATV tires, RV tires, boat trailer tires, and wheels. Discount Tire scours the competition to be sure no one beats their deals online or in store. Have a RZR or side-by-side you want to trick out? Well, Discount Tire has all the rugged tires and flashy wheels you need to do just that. Choose Discount Tire for the lowest tire prices anywhere. Get the best financing options around. Choose 12 months no interest, no credit check financing or layaway. Whatever your budget, Discount Tire and Automotive has the will and the way. Don't miss these tire savings that end April 30th. You won't find better deals online or in any other store. Make your tire and service reservations online 24/7 at webtires.net. Discount Tire and Automotive in Logan, Providence, and Smithfield.
Discount Tire. So much more than a tire store.
We all need a reason to celebrate warm weather, so come celebrate Cinco de Mayo at the Cache County Fairgrounds, Friday, May 5th. Mariachi bands, Zumba, traditional Mexican folk dancers and singers will all have you dancing to their rhythm into the evening. And several food trucks are serving up authentic Mexican treats to satisfy your appetite. Bring the whole family. There's something for all ages. This year's celebration is presented by Presto Products in Lewiston. Apply today for a career that can improve your life at Presto Products. DD Auto and Salvage. They pay the best price on junk vehicles and scrap metal. DD Auto and Salvage. Members First Credit Union. Large enough to provide the service you need, yet small enough to provide the service you deserve. Members First Credit Union invites you to join us at the Cache County Fairgrounds and experience the vibrant colors, sounds, and tastes of Mexico at this year's Cinco de Mayo celebration. Friday, May 5th at the Cache County Fairgrounds.
Taking the guesswork out of gardening. It's the Garden Guide with Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
And we welcome you back to the show. On this Saturday morning, it's now 35 degrees outside the KVNU studios. We'll feel right along with Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden and a special guest, Daniel from Fertilume and High Yield. So we're talking all things to take care of your lawn and garden. That is available from Fertilume, High Yield, and also just talking about the fact that you can finally get outside.
It's going to be warmer today, too. Yes, the sun is out. It might be 35 right now, but it's going to be so nice.
Yeah.
Go stand out there in the sun.
Hey, I'll take 35 in the sunshine.
Watch the snow melt, yeah. So during the break, Daniel and I were talking about fertilome.com, and you've got some really great stuff on social media. And we've been focusing this year a lot on our social media. And so if you're not on our Instagram page and our Facebook, and we've kind of started doing some TikTok stuff too, we're kind of progressive at Anderson's.
Yeah.
You've been missing out because we had some like really viral posts on Instagram with all the weather and everything, and my daughter-in-law's been helping out a lot, and she's actually in Arizona, and so she's learning about gardening, and she's all of a sudden got the gardening bug, and she's just having a blast with it, and she's been posting some really, really funny stuff.
A lot of great gardening memes out there.
Some of our posts have been hitting like 1 million people.
Oh, very
good. So if you're not following us on Instagram, you really need to, because there's some really cool stuff that we've been posting, informational stuff, and just fun things as well, just fun facts and just kind of crazy things just to keep everybody lighthearted with the terrible weather, and we've been sharing those on Facebook and just starting to do some cool little videos on TikTok on how to do different things. So try and follow us on there at Anderson Seed and Garden. But Fertilume's got some really good stuff going too. So we try and direct people over to fertilume.com.
It's great to be informed by a joke.
Yeah. Make you laugh and learn a little something at the same time. So, but spring open house is going on this weekend at Anderson Seed and Garden. We've got gorgeous flowers. We've got lots of bare root plants to plant. We've got trees and shrubs and vegetables, you name it. Everything's in stock, ready to go, and we're just hoping for some great weather to get outside and do some planting. Some great prices on hanging baskets. We've got sprayers on sale. We've got watering cans on sale and gloves and potting soil, all kinds of fun things happening at Anderson Seed and Garden this weekend. It's our Spring Fling planting event next Saturday, so if you want to participate in our planting event where we give away, we'll pot your plants for free, so we provide the labor and the soil for planting. You buy a little bark to go in the bottom of your pots and some flowers, and buy a new pot or bring in your existing pots, and make sure and get with us and set up an appointment, because we're doing by appointment only, and we'll provide all that labor and soil for free to fill up your pots and make your house and your patio and your porch look amazing. So make sure and get signed up for our Spring Fling planting event. You can do that by calling in, and we'll set you up with an appointment. You can just stop in the store, and we'll help you do that as well too. So we've got a couple different options. You can email us with your favored times to try and come in. We'll try and work around your schedule as much as we can as well too. So, but you got to have an appointment. So make sure you get an appointment and a time set up for our planting event. And we'd love to have you come and participate with that for next Saturday. It's from 10 to 5 next Saturday, the 29th of April. And we do have a caller.
We do. Tyler,
all right,
joining us on the line from Richmond. Tyler, thanks for holding. Welcome to the Garden Guide.
Gentlemen, how are you this morning?
Doing great, Tyler.
Good morning, Tyler.
Hey, I've got a fun little question. My wife has researched this no-till garden method, and we were thinking about giving it a shot. I guess the idea is that rather than having that 6 to 10 inches of loose soil every year, and that layer of hard, compact, density underneath, you just kind of leave it all the same denseness. I don't know what the word is, but I thought I would ask you if you've heard of that, and if you've heard any pros or cons or anything like that about the no-till garden method.
We do have quite a few customers, well, I would say more than a handful, but not like dozens, that have been trying to do the no-till method. And our soils, it depends on your soil. And so if you've got a little bit heavier clay soil, it can compact down, and it's hard to grow stuff when your soil's really compacted like that. And so our soil at home, if you've got a raised bed, you could definitely absolutely do it because your soil's light and fluffy. It's easy to just like dig holes and loosen the soil up and make that work. But I know in my garden, right now it's so compacted down, it's going to be like concrete. Yeah. So I'm going to have to get out there and till and get that soil broken up so I can get some plants to grow in there, just because it's had so much snow on it all winter. So I have not personally had great success with that in my regular garden, but in a raised bed, you would have no problem trying to do something like that for sure.
Okay. Well, we'll try it out and we'll return and report.
Please do. That would be great. Share some information with us. Let us know how it works. And Tyler, thanks so much for holding on and having a great question for us.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you so much. So phone lines are open, 753-5868, 753-KVNU, and we'd love to have you join us here on The Garden Guide. So
I'm always up for avoiding having to till my garden, but I'm just afraid, as it being in the bottom of the valley, the soil down here in the bottom of the valley, after even just a couple of months,
just compacts down.
It just is so hard.
It does. Even last summer, I tilled my garden to start the season off with, and the soil was light and fluffy and nice, and it just was so hot. Mm-hmm. When I'd water and then have that heat afterwards, it just would solidify, and it just turned hard and crusty on the surface just because the heat was pulling all the moisture out of it. So
I have, though, if you have gone several years, and I know up at my dad's place, he has over the years infused compost and a lot of manure and a lot of fertilizer, and so you could maybe get away 1 year going without, because he's infused so many microorganisms into the soil. Mm-hmm. And he's really helped bring lots
of organic matter.
So you could probably maybe get away with it one season, but I don't know how you do it.
I know we've got a few customers that have been doing it and have been fairly successful, but I think you're right. You've got to have soil that's just naturally not clumping together. So lots of perlite, lots of coconut coir, lots of organic matter to keep that soil from clumping up. Zeolite would be awesome to add into the soil as well too. So I think it's definitely doable, but with our hard alkaline soils here in Utah, it's going to be a bit of a challenge. Have you had any experience, Daniel, with doing the no-till?
No, I haven't. Like you guys were saying, I'd be concerned about those roots hitting that hard, compact soil. They're going to go sideways. They're not going to want to go deep down. But feeding those microorganisms, we were talking about humic earlier, you get those microorganisms going, you maybe get a little bit of gypsum down. I could see, maybe getting a season or so out of it, but
possible.
Yeah.
Be observant.
Good work.
Yep. Who's up next?
Nancy is joining us on the line from Lewiston. Nancy, go ahead. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I have a few roses. I've been wondering about when I could trim them. There's still a lot of dead leaves, and they don't look very good now.
Now would be a great time to prune your roses. Generally, we tell everyone the first weekend of April is a great time to prune the roses, but they were still covered with snow. So right now would be excellent. We're moving out of those cold temperatures at night. We're still getting a little bit of frost, but we're not dropping down into the teens, and we better not drop down in the teens anymore. Make sure.
No, it's not going to happen. We're just going to say that right now.
Make sure we don't have any more of those, Will. And I would do it. I'd go ahead and prune, and we have a bunch of have gorgeous roses coming from our grower, and I've had to push them back a couple weeks because they're just not blooming yet. So the first week of May is when our roses are going to show up if you need some new roses as well too, Nancy.
Okay, so the climbing ones, or do I just pull the dead leaves off, and then how far do I trim them back?
So the climbers, we will usually recommend you trim those back to about 3 to 5 feet. And so usually at 3 to 5 feet, and then take the extra long canes, the whips off. And if you've got some canes that are looking a little bit beat up, maybe you prune them a little bit closer if you need to. And there's a lot of leaves left on them. And we had leaves left on like apple trees and, a lot of trees this year because it froze really hard before the leaves had come off the trees this fall. And so we had a lot of leaves stuck on the trees all winter long, which is kind of unusual as well, too. And I'm sure it's the same with the roses. As the new buds start to pop open and you get new growth coming out, all those leaves will come off and they'll be fine.
Okay, sounds great.
All right.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate your help.
You're so welcome. Once you're done pruning, make sure and fertilize your roses. They like to be fertilized very consistently, and the Fertilome Rose Food with Systemic it doesn't get any better, Daniel.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. Quarter of a cup per rose once a month until August.
And helps prevent those insects.
Yeah, gets the insects.
Okay, so you said the Fertilome?
Yep, the Fertilome Rose Food with Systemic. You only use a quarter of a cup once a month until August.
A 4-pound bag goes a long way.
I think a 4-pound bag will do like 32
medium-sized roses.
32 roses. Yeah.
Does a great job.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're so welcome, Nancy. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, we got a little
about
bit,
5 more minutes.
I was gonna say we got a little bit of time. We could get another call or could possibly 2 in
753-5868 or 1-800-369-5868. And I happen to know I was looking at some of the rose and flower food that is right there in the back of the store as you head towards the back to the greenhouse. And we were talking earlier about just taking care of plants, raspberries, fruit trees. I know that was the question I had yesterday during the spring open house that I was talking to Daniel about. Is I've got fruit trees that I'm looking to try to help. I've used the tree stakes for years, and they've been okay. But this year I'm going to try the fruit tree fertilizer from Fertilome.
Yeah, that product works its way into the soil on its own.
A little bit better.
You don't have to hammer anything down into the ground.
It's got a soil penetrant added into it. A lot of micronutrients, which the fruit trees are lacking from time to time.
Yeah, you get some zinc and some boron and all that good stuff.
Right. So. Really easy to apply. So it's like a broadcast spreader. You can just broadcast that underneath the drip line of the trees, and it will make your life a little bit easier, because it's an easier application. And then you're going to get 3 to 4 months of slow release fertilizer out of it. So should work wonderful.
Instead of just a concentrated spot that I always find that I drop that tree root or that the tree stake in, and right around the tree stake I see all this beautiful green grass, and I'm thinking, did I do anything to help the tree?
Yeah. So I had somebody in yesterday, and they were trying to do the same thing, and they had a fairly good sized tree. It's probably like 5 or 6 inches in diameter. He's like, well, how do I get those spikes spread out evenly around my tree? It's like, break them. You break them in half, and then make extra holes, and so you can spread them out farther around the drip line. But with the Fertilome fruit tree food, you can just broadcast it out, so you get a nice even distribution that way as well too. And then, we were talking about weeds earlier too, and weeds are they're popping up like crazy.
Yeah,
underneath the snow, they're like growing underneath the snow.
A lot of people coming in concerned about weeds. So you've got lots of options, but right now there's really only one you can go for. It's the weed-free zone. I mean, it's the
works in cold temperatures.
That's exactly right. Most people don't think about, they think if the weed's there, they can spray it. But if it's too cold, some of those products don't work. So weed-free zone works 40 to 90, works really well. So.
Yeah. And it kills the hardest to kill weeds like morning glory and thistle and mallow. Works in those cold temperatures. Works fast.
Yep.
I mean, it's quick.
Yep,
you see reactions
really quickly. You see results
really
quick. And it's 4 herbicides in one. I mean, you're really getting a lot of work done with one spraying.
So if you want to do a weed and feed on your turf, it's actually warm enough to do it if you use the weed-free zone.
That's right.
If you use something else, it's too cold still.
That's right. But talk to somebody before you apply a weed and feed. There's a lot of tips and tricks to make you more successful with it. And the great thing about the weed-free zone weed and feed, you've got that green maker fertilizer in there, that one that you and I both like, that we both put on our own lawn. Yep, exactly.
Extra 5% iron in there.
Yeah, you
really greens it up.
Got some sulfur to lower that soil pH. It just does wonders. It makes everything to make the grass want to grow, green up, not just grow.
Yeah. And I've been telling people, if you put the weed-free zone fertilizer on and you get really good control on the weeds, if you do it properly, you can still go back and spot treat a few areas with the liquid, because sometimes the weed and feed just doesn't quite get everything.
Yeah,
so
I always get
close.
Best results with the liquid herbicide. Yeah. So,
do we have enough time to get our one caller in, or we're just
not
about?
Quite. We're at the top of the hour.
We're just about there. Okay.
Just want to mention again the spring open house going on today till 6 o'clock.
We're there.
69 West Center Street.
We're there to answer your questions.
Spring planting event next week.
Yeah, we're there today till 6 o'clock to answer your questions, help you find what you're looking for. Come see our amazing hanging baskets right now, and greenhouses are full, nursery's full. We're just ready to go. Spring planting event next Saturday. Don't forget, get an appointment. Okay. We'll get you taken care of. So.
And join us next week for the Garden Guide. You're on KVNU.
News and talk around the clock.
I listen to you all the time.
News Talk KVNU Logan 6.